This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You can make your own beautiful website or online store with this all-in-one platform. Hey everyone, today I'm drawing a bunch of birds in my sketchbook, and for this sketchbook spread, I'm mainly using watercolor, colored pencil, Caran d'Ache pastels, which are waxy water-based pastels, water-soluble pastels, and acrylic markers. And what I'm drawing are a bunch of birds, but they're not just any bird. They're called smooth-billed anis, and I decided to just do a whole page of them because I thought they were really, really cool looking. They kind of reminded me of dinosaurs or something that looks prehistoric. I guess a lot of birds look like that, but these ones in particular just have that sort of look to them. Their beaks are really tall compared to their head, and I just thought that was a really cool feature. So I wanted to draw them. And I wanted to know what family they were in, and they're actually in the cuckoo family, and they're related to roadrunners, which is pretty cool. I can kind of see that after looking at more photos of them. They also just have this like cute factor to their faces. Kind of looks like they're smiling. So I really wanted to draw them. And whenever I'm drawing an animal that is primarily black, like birds or cats or something that is mostly black, I don't like to just use like black and gray. I always like to use variations of dark blue, purple, just a lot of different colors all mixed together to make black. And it might end up looking blue in the end. This is just sort of like a sketch page where I just like doodle and just like try stuff out and just paint for fun and paint to relax. But I was trying to vary the hue and not make it like I don't just get my black watercolor paint out to paint a black bird. I will use dark blue, dark green. I tried to sort of bring in different hues in each one. Like you can kind of see the middle one is more of like a greenish black. The one at the bottom is more bluish. I think they sort of all blend together a little bit more in the end, and they end up being more of a similar color to each other. But the reason why I wanted to draw birds and a very simple page of just birds in grass is because of the April print that I'm working on. I do a new piece of art every month for my Patreon that also ends up in my shop eventually, and it's a little bundle of a sketchbook page, an art print, and a sticker. So this month, it's actually not about birds, but it sort of is. Birds are the secondary subject. The main subject is a dog. I'll show the work in progress, or like however far I got on the painting thus far in this video, just so you can see what the April package is. But I needed a sketchbook page to go with it, and I was flipping through and I saw this page that I did recently where I just took some pencil and just sketched out some birds one night, and it was kind of relaxing. So I decided to just take that and add some color. I always like to add color to my sketches. It's just like a nice relaxing thing to do. If you don't know what to draw, but something's already drawn in your sketchbook, adding color to it can be, it sort of like uses a different part of your brain than doing the lines and the sketching, because you're just adding the color and sort of like building it up from a framework that you already laid down with the pencil. And after I did the watercolor, I went in with pencil crayon and just like added little details. I think pencil crayon and watercolor go hand in hand really well. Watercolor just makes such a good base for adding other media on top of. And sometimes I'm not sure if I want to do outlines with a felt tip pen or if I want to do outlines with pencil crayon. There's kind of pros and cons to both. The pros for using a felt tip pen, and what I mean is like a black fine liner that has a flexible nib for outlining. I use the Tombow ones for that a lot, which is basically just black ink and you just do solid black outlines. The good part about that is that it's really easy to sort of like define your sketch and it adds a really nice pop of contrast around the details of your artwork. But the limitations with that is that now becomes your darkest color, is this deep dark black, and your outlines are all black, and there's not as much potential for colorful, painterly looking sketches. So today I was sort of feeling the more colorful vibes, so I decided to outlines with different colors of dark colored pencil. And this method, you can end up with a more like soft appearance, and you can match the colored pencil to the watercolor, and you can vary the pressure a lot more easily by pressing really hard or pressing really light. There's just a lot of different colors to choose from compared to fine liners. Colored pencil is just a really versatile medium. You can use it to fill in areas, to do shading and outlines. You can just do a lot with it while you're outlining your sketches. But if you want that really nice like graphic quality, really nice contrast, a nice bold line, fine liners are just so good for that. And they're really fun to use. I love just doing a page of like graphite pencil sketches, and you go in with a felt tip pen and outline them and then add in color with whatever your medium is, like watercolor or marker. That's a lot of fun. And one of my sketchbook pages from 2023 where I drew a bunch of foxes, I remember doing it that way and it was a lot of fun. And it always just like stands out really nicely. It's just sometimes I like the more soft approach with not doing too many solid outlines, doing more like broken outlines and just like adding little details and hatching with colored pencil. So there's really pros and cons to both methods, and you can totally combine them. Now to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. If you are looking to build your own website, portfolio, or even an online shop, Squarespace is a great place to get started. You can either choose from their pre-made templates or use Squarespace Blueprint to build your own customized template and then go from there. I have recently started using their e-commerce tools to sell my very own Procreate brush packs, and I had a lot of fun using their different design tools and trying to build a landing page for people who want to check out my brushes. And once everything was set up, the process has been very seamless and I've had a lot of support on my brush pack, so thank you so much. If you'd like to try out Squarespace yourself to make your very own website, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/JelArts to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, one of my favorite things to do when I'm using pencil crayon on top of sketches like this is to take a really light color and go over dark colors with it. So say I had like a really dark blue watercolor dried area. If I take like a very light blue or a very light purple and add a little bit of bounce light on top, what I'm doing here isn't necessarily bounce light, but it's really fun to lighten darker areas with colored pencil. And it's easier to do this with the ones that are softer and the ones that tend to come off onto the paper more easily, because not all pencil crayons are made the same. Some of them are purposely harder so you can do finer details, but the softer ones are really nice for blending, and they're so soft and smooth that they lay on the paper more thick, so it's easier to get it to sit on top of darker colors and to be more opaque. I find some of the thickest pencil crayons that I have are the Prismacolor Premier Softcore pencils. They are purposely made to be soft and to be blendable, and they go on top of dark colors really, really nicely. But I've also been experimenting with the new ones that I've got, the Derwent Lightfast pencils, the Holbein Artist pencils. I also got some Caran d'Ache Luminance ones, which are pretty soft and blendy. I haven't like fully put them to the test as to how good each of them are at going on top of like darker watercolor areas, so I still need to test that out more once I do the actual colored pencil video. I don't know when that's going to be. I think I might have started talking about it a little too early before I was ready to like finish the entire video, but it'll be like an ongoing process, and eventually I will post the video where I sort of compare all these brands to each other. One thing that I really like about this page is the fact that I managed to stick to a relatively limited color palette. I think I have a tendency to add a lot of different colors in my sketchbook pages, and I don't really take advantage of simple color palettes. So for this one, it was just blue colors, green, gray. It was a very cool tone piece. I didn't really include any reds or oranges or yellows or anything like that. It's pretty much just green and blue, and I think it gives it this really nice fresh appearance. It just looks like freshly watered grass. It looks like blue skies and wind and birds flying around. I think the foliage and the colors that I chose lends themselves really nicely to the subject matter, which is birds. I'm pretty happy with this page. I think the bird at the very bottom looks a little odd because he doesn't really have a wing forming. He's sort of just like a neck and a bird head. He's just kind of like all neck, and you don't really know where his wing would start, but it doesn't matter. That's just how he looks. He's just a little cone of feathers. And I had a lot of fun adding little hatch marks with my wax pastels, which are basically like adult crayons. They go on top of media really well, and I find they sort of replace pencil crayons for me in some cases, and they're also easy on the hand. They go on the page really nicely, really smooth and soft. So I love using them as like final touches or to fill in large areas very effortlessly. And usually one of my final steps is to go in with some type of opaque medium if I feel like it needs it, to add little highlights and to clarify areas, clean up areas, and add opaque details on top of everything. And you shouldn't use acrylic marker on top of things that would clog the nib, but I sort of take calculated risks and very lightly go over some of the pencil crayons, some of the wax pastels, because I just like the effect of putting paint on top of the sketches. And I just kind of go through my acrylic marker collection and find colors that match the ones that I have already used on the page. And sometimes I choose the wrong color because the lid is not accurate at all, so I have to go in with a different color and correct it. And I really had to resist adding way too much at this step. It's so easy to go overboard. It's so easy to get lost in the lines and just add and add and add. And eventually you don't realize you're actually making things worse by adding too much. I think the art of patience is something that I really need when it comes to art. I just feel like my brain works faster than my hand, and my hand just like can't keep up with my brain, and I end up making mistakes because I know what I want it to look like, so I'm like rushing my hand to get there. But I should really like force my hand and my brain to slow down and realize what the piece actually needs, because there's no undo button with traditional art. There is with digital, and overworking with digital is totally a thing, and I do it all the time. And basically overworking is when you just add so much that it sort of starts to look stiff. The medium starts to be like cakey and muddy, and you just start to like highlight certain areas way too harshly and like tighten up on lines more than you need to. Sometimes there's beauty in the unfinished nature of sketchbook pages and of final paintings. Not everything has to be completely 100% defined. And I find myself slipping into this thinking pattern a lot. And I caught myself a few times with this page thinking like, oh, it has to look this way. And then I'm like, it's just a sketchbook page. It's not an actual print. Like there's going to be imperfections. Some of their faces look a little wonky. Like it's not absolutely perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And I shouldn't hold myself to that standard because I always say that other people shouldn't hold themselves to that standard. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a fun little page. Maybe it'll inspire you to do a more limited palette, not add too many colors, and just see what you can do with a simple color palette. It was a lot of fun. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.